Hi, welcome to Relish Books. Today I am reviewing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. To make my Harry Potter reviews just a little more unique, I thought I would specifically review the MinaLima illustrated editions. This is the edition that my husband and I are collecting. So far we have the first three. I think they just came out with number 4. We just haven't got it quite yet. So I'm going to be reviewing all these. I'm rereading the series for the third time, but this is my first time with this really beautiful edition. So I thought I would just share my thoughts on that specifically, as well as, what I think about the books. So I was a little skeptical about these. Obviously, the cover is really pretty and everything. I thought maybe it's got like a ton of illustrations, a ton of like pop-ups and interactive little things. I thought it might be a little bit too childish or a little bit silly, a little too much. And it is definitely geared towards younger people. Obviously, all of Harry Potter is like young adult, and one of the cool things about Harry Potter is that it really is meant to kind of grow with the reader. I think that obviously the first ones are geared more towards younger people, and then as the characters grow up, you really feel like the tone of the books and the content matter grows with them to appeal more to children at the same ages as the characters. So that the readers can really grow up with the characters, and I'll be interested to see if the art kind of reflects that as well. But I enjoyed it. A little bit, another concern that I had, this one's not a big deal because it's the first one, and so it's not huge yet, but one concern I have is like the pop-ups make the book thicker, and the first one is pretty slim, in the other editions, and so I'm a little bit worried that by the time it gets to the final ones, they'll just be so huge and so heavy and bulky that they'll be difficult to like read with comfort. But honestly, all the Harry Potter, editions, by the end they're really big, so I don't know if that's a totally legitimate concern. I found these ones fairly comfortable, the first few fairly comfortable to read, a little bit heavy, but like if you're propping them up or something, it's fine. So yeah, they have lots of little pop-ups and little interactive things. Here's Hogwarts with all the common rooms and stuff. There's illustrations on pretty much every page. I think the illustrations are pretty good. They're cutesy, but they're fun. Oh, this is Diagon Alley. This is probably my favorite. It like unfolds all the way, and there's all the shops. It's really cute. But yeah, my one problem that I think I would say is just like some of the normal illustrations on each page. It's almost like a little bit too much. They can be a little distracting. Like there's stuff going like through the words sometimes to where you kind of have a hard time finding your place. If you're reading along, they kind of interrupt the flow of reading. So I don't know if I would love these to be like my first read through. They could be just a little bit distracting. And also if you're reading it for the first time, some of the pop-ups, if you like interact with them, as soon as you turn to that page, they might give something away, but they're pretty good about making sure that the illustrations are on the correct page for what's happening. So anyway, I ended up really enjoying this, and I read the next 2, and I'm excited to collect all of them in that edition. I think it's neat. Out of all the, collector's editions that they're making, I think this is a fun one. I don't love, like, they're cool looking, but those huge square ones that they do, I really don't like those. Those, like, they're nice to admire, like, on your coffee table or something, but those, you'd have to, like, lay them out and, like, turn the pages like a giant dictionary to really read them. Like, I'm worried about these ones being a little bulky, and those ones are just too much for me. So for, like, a nice, fun collector's edition, hopefully for our kids to read when they're a little older and have fun with, I do really like this illustrated version. I don't know if I like, it's really fun to collect. I don't know if I would say I love it more or I love the illustrations more than the original, because I have, connection and nostalgia for those original editions and original artwork. But this one's really fun. I think it's cool. All the little illustrations are fun. Like, they're all connected to stuff that's going on in the story, kind of bringing out those little things that are significant. They almost feel like more significant once you've read the books before, because you know that they're special in their certain ways or whatever. So really fun additions. I really like them. Would recommend. They come in all the different colors. They're very fancy looking. So as far as what I think of Harry Potter, particularly this first one, obviously Harry Potter is such a phenomenon, and sometimes I think that people who love classics and mostly read classics like I do can kind of disdain more popular series, especially super more modern series, especially that are super popular, kind of just because they're so popular and because, the fans have gone so crazy and everything. But there's nothing wrong with liking modern stuff, popular stuff, if it's actually really good. And Harry Potter is genuinely so good. Judging it, like, you always have to judge a book for what it is, for what it's trying to be, for what the author's intention was. And it's a phenomenon for a reason. It is a truly special and unique series. She did with her fantasy world something that nobody else has been able to come close to. You think about, like, why is Harry Potter such a huge deal? And I think it's because if you think of every other fantasy world that anyone else has ever made, nobody else made their world as inviting as the world of Harry Potter. Everybody wishes that they could go there. Everybody wishes that they could go to Hogwarts, that they could go to Diagon Alley. That's my favorite. The Diagon Alley chapter in the first Harry Potter is just the most amazing thing when you're reading it for the first time, as a kid especially. She brought something to life that was so vivid and warm and fun and exciting. A lot of other fantasy authors are so concerned with describing their world, describing how the magic of their world works, geography, all these things, and she kept it simple but brilliant, because it's in our world, and it's this magical world hidden within our world, which is a special idea by itself. On top of that, she doesn't overly describe how her magical system works. I think some of the charm of Harry Potter is how she so casually mentions all the things about the world without going into detail. Like, it just makes it more exciting. Like, she mentions vampires and hags and all these different things that we never even see throughout the series. We don't know where they even live. Some of the races she obviously features more in the stories, like the elves and goblins and giants, but you have this, like, vague impression, of all this vast group of magical creatures that she never even, she only touches the tip of the iceberg on. Magical races, all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't feel like she's being vague. It just feels like matter of fact. And another thing that's really great about it is her sense of humor, and something that I think is very underrated about the series and that people don't talk about enough, especially in the first few books that are very lighthearted, again, geared more toward younger children, and they're just fun-loving adventures. And at the heart of it, the main story that's being told is serious, but her tone of writing, just the general, chapter to chapter, her prose, her style is very humorous. That's the driving force at the heart of it, is really humor. And she's so good at it, which is rare. That's such a rare gift. Just that crisp British humor that she has coming through in her writing and her word choices and her names, in her Characters, I think this is not a book to movie comparison video. I might do those someday. I think that's intimidating because there's just so much there. Obviously, the books are a million times better, but that's just one way in which I think the movies really fall short. And I mean, I don't know how you would even do it properly, but pretty much all the main characters have their own particular humor, and they kind of chose to just pick a couple characters that are the main sources of comedy. But one of my favorite things about the books is, and you know, one of the foundations of the series is the relationship between Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and it's based so strongly on the comedy of the three, and they each have their different brand of humor. In the movies, it's kind of just like, you know, Ron's the stupid funny one, which is an insult to his character. They really did him very badly in that way. I mean, I like this character in the movie, but they lessened him so much compared to the books. And they shortchanged Hermione as well in trying to make her just smart and just good at everything, because she's actually one of the funniest female characters in a series ever. I love Hermione's character in the book. She's exasperating and so annoying, but that's just who she is, and it's super fun with the other characters, and so rare to find a female character that is that well done and lovable and funny and annoying and all those things together, that balances so well with the, you know, the two male characters. So I think every time I reread the series, I feel like I have a different sort of favorite book. But at the end of the day, I think you can't really beat the first one. Others might be more fun and you pick up on something new in the plot line on rereads, but I think beginnings are so special. To really good series, it's hard to beat a good beginning, and Harry Potter is the most magical beginning of pretty much all of them. So number one, it's really just a great beginning to what's going to go on to be a great series, and just exploring, taking time to just have fun and explore the world, and just putting all kinds of moments in there just for the fun of it. And it just makes it a really special read. Another thing that's so cool reading the first one again, and the first couple especially, is I don't know a series that was ever better, you know, an 8-book series that was ever better laid out. She's so good at, you know, little tiny things that seem totally unimportant, that fit perfectly in the story, that seem completely innocent, suddenly becoming major plot points later on, big reveals, every detail. I mean, if you look hard enough into any series, into any big story, there's going to be plot holes. But I think this, no one laid out a plot more intricately and more consistently than she did. It's really incredible to see, reading the series over and over, how each little tiny thing ties perfectly in. Details about characters that you see the groundwork laid for in book 1 that don't come to be revealed, you know, until book 7. I keep saying 8. There are only 7 books. The movies mess me up there. But yeah, just incredible plot working. And yeah, the plot in the first book, really the first couple books, is a little bit more corny. But again, it's towards a younger audience. It's supposed to just be fun. And it's always, it's consistent too, with just the way that the story works, the way that the world works. Yes, some things comes in at times that are a little too convenient, but they can always be explained away. A lot of plot holes can just be explained away by just being like, well, Dumbledore was just like testing Harry or whatever. Because if you think about the tasks in the first book, if you looked at them without thinking like, yeah, Dumbledore was really behind it and setting Harry and his friends up to test them and train them, knowing what they're going to have to go through in the future, it wouldn't really make any sense. But if you look at it from that perspective, it works. And you have to kind of look at things from that perspective a lot, really, throughout the series when you see the things that, come to pass. But yeah, I love the first book so much. Like, so many people. It's a great beginning. It's a super, super unique world. There's nothing else like it. There's a reason it's such a big deal. So yeah, I'm not going to go into really any major plot points. I think everyone's familiar with the story. But yeah, I love it. The first one, again, different ones are my favorite at different times, but ultimately, the first one's got to be the best. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this particular edition of Harry Potter and the story, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about each book in the weeks to come. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.